Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Linda with Pinky Moss Cakes, Cookies, and Candy. And kind of rushing around this morning. I'm making something real simple, and I thought I had everything I needed. And at the last minute, I realized that there was 2 or 3 of the little potatoes that I was going to use that I didn't like the way they looked. So I ran over to Brookshire's real quick. It's 4 miles from the house, and I walked in Brookshire's at 9:23, and I was back home in the kitchen at 9:38. So that tells y'all I was moving. So anyway, I got a couple of things that I needed, and I'm back, and I made it in time. So this is something that is real simple that I'm making. I've got 2 or 3 things on here, so I'm gonna try to watch this real quick before my grease burns. Y'all have seen me make cornbread many times, so I went ahead and mixed this up. I'm just making a small pan, and I got my grease real hot and my oven on 425. And if y'all want to know how I made this, I'll tell you, but I know me and Mary both have made cornbread lots of times, and everybody makes it different. You know, this is just how I make it. You either want your grease hot or cold. You don't want it in between. And since I'm the one that mostly eats the cornbread, I just made a small pan because I usually make a big pan and wind up giving part of it to the birds. Welcome to our page. Thank you for joining us. Mary's on the other end. Hi, Mary. Let me run some water in this real quick. And Mama made this many times when we were kids, and I think I've made it before on here. Pretty sure I have. But I just thought this sounded good for lunch. And I've got probably about 2.5 pounds of potatoes cut up in kind of like chunk pieces. I use gold potatoes because they hold their texture. Now, every time I fix potatoes, I just wish that I had some potatoes from Ireland, because they are the best potatoes I have ever eaten in my life. They are absolutely different from ours, and they are amazing. So I don't have those, so I'm using gold, and I've got my water boiling here. And I know some people say put potatoes in cold water. Well, I want these to start cooking, so I've got my water boiling, and I want to give this some flavor. And again, you know, we read your comments, and I know that there's always going to be somebody say something about this. I'm putting about a teaspoon of bacon grease in it. You don't use bacon grease? That's fine. I do. I don't use it all the time, and we don't eat like this all the time. But there's times when you want something that reminds you of growing up, and that's what this is. And I just thought it would be a good little lunch. So I put the bacon grease in there, and I'm going to salt and pepper my water. Get some salt and pepper in here, and I'm going to use probably about a teaspoon of salt and about 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. And I'm going to get these potatoes in here and get these cooking, and then I'm going to move over to the other side. Let's see if my lid's hot. I'm not going to completely close that because I've got this on pretty high, but I am going to close it a little bit. So now I'm going to move over to here to my other burner. I hadn't even had a chance to drink my Sprite this morning, so I got my Sprite here that I think I had 1 swallow out of it. So I've got my burner on. These skillets here heat really quickly. It's the Brilliance set, or Brilliance piece, pampered chef, and it heats up real quick. So I didn't want to put that on the burner until I got ready to use it, because I didn't want it to get too hot. So let me set my timer for my cornbread, although I'll smell it when it starts to get done. And I had thawed out a little bit of hamburger. We put this up when we buy it. We put it up in the freezer in little tiny packs because it's easy to thaw out. and most of the time we don't need much, so we usually do like a 4-ounce, which is what this little small one is. But I decided I needed more meat than that, so I just picked up a fresh packet Berkshires this morning, and I just kind of like to pat it a little bit, and I'm going to put it in this hot skillet, and we're going to saute this. Now, here in the United States, we call this hamburger or ground beef. I think they call it minced beef in Ireland and different places of Europe, but we call it hamburger. And I use the 96.4 if I can get it, and it is terribly, terribly expensive. But, you know, we don't use a whole lot of it. We use it very sparingly, and it cuts down on the fat. So, well, I don't see my little thing that breaks up the hamburger. I'll just use the spatula. And I'm going to also season this with some salt and pepper. And a lot of you would probably put some diced onion in this, and if you want to do that, or garlic, you certainly could. I'm not, because I'm fixing it like I like it. But if you wanted to add something else to it, you could. Just give it some more flavor, give it a little different flavor. But I like it the way Mama used to fix it, so that's how I fix it myself. Oh, let me get my salt and pepper over here. I gotta get that. Now, you don't have to have the burner up as high as I got it. I need to turn that down a little bit. And years ago, I never used a measuring spoon to measure salt and pepper, but I was always heavy on the salt, and pepper too, of course. But I got started to using a measuring spoon, so I'm kind of more conscious now about how much salt I put in it. And I did salt the potatoes, but the meat needs salt too. So I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here, and you want to cook this until it's done. And if there's any fat left in it, I'm going to drain that off or soak it up with a paper towel. And this is kind of, I don't even know what it's called, and I don't even know what it's, I guess you could probably say like a soup, or just potatoes and ground beef is what we've always called it. And I've always had a very simple palate. Y'all know that as much as y'all see me cook. There's things that my stomach doesn't take too well. So I cook with seasonings, very simple seasonings. And I've got a cabinet full of seasonings, but I cook with things that I know that's not going to hurt me, and that I like. So if you want to add anything to this, you could. You know, onion salt, onion powder, onions. You could even put a little bit of carrot in it. Would kind of remind you of like maybe a hamburger helper or something, except this has got more liquid in it than a hamburger helper. You could also add some beef broth to it. I'm not, because I want just the broth or the liquid from the potatoes. But you certainly could do that if you wanted to give it a little bit more flavor and a different kind of flavor. So it is hot as blue blazes outside. When I walked out the door to run over to town, that heat and humidity hit me. Gonna be another storm before the day's over, I can tell you that, because anytime it's this hot and humid this early in the morning, you can guarantee that it's going to build up through the afternoon, and we're going to get some thunderstorms come through, maybe more than one. And it looks like, I'm slopping stuff all over the place. It looks like we're going to have rain for the next several days. Not just today, but several days. And I guess it's every time of the year, or every year is different. Hard to bend over. They say there's a super El Nino this year, and maybe that's why we're having all this rain and storms. I don't know. But I've lived long enough to know when the air is as heavy and humid as it is today, it's going to storm. But at least we'll have eaten something early if the electric happens to go off. Now with here, the way it is here, if our electric goes off, if it's not on within 45 minutes or an hour, we can pretty much figure it's going to be off for several hours. And that could be anywhere from 3 to 7 or 8. What was it, a week or so ago, maybe a week and a half ago, our electric went off, and it was off for almost 7 hours. And that was a long time for it to be off. So we never know if it's going to go off. But like this will be something to eat early. At least we'll have something good to eat. We can always make a sandwich or something, but sometimes you just want something that's cooked, not just a sandwich that you can make real quick. Now you can see here that there's not a whole lot of fat in this. My potatoes haven't started boiling yet. I need to get those cooking. I want this all to be cooked about the same time, almost to a boil. I'm going to turn that up just a pinch. It won't take them long to cook once they start boiling. When you're cutting up your potatoes, most of y'all know this. Sometimes I think, I know I do repeat myself a lot or tell the same things from one cooking video to another, but anytime you're cooking something, if you try to cut the pieces up about the same size where they're pretty much equal, they'll cook around the same time. If you've got some big chunks and some little chunks, then you're going to have some potatoes that are done and some that aren't done. Same thing with carrots or anything else. So you want to try to be as uniform as possible when you're cutting up your vegetables. And I like my hamburger brown. I like to get a good brown on it. And the reason I do is because it gives it another level of flavor. I don't like it pale. I like to have a little bit of color to it. So I'm just going to keep sauteing this, and then I'll take it off the burner and move my potatoes over here whenever it gets to where I like it. Now my potatoes are boiling. I think this is pretty close to being done. And if you don't know exactly how much to cook per person, a good rule of thumb, if you have children or little picky eaters that don't eat a whole lot, you could do like probably count one small potato per child or per person if they're real picky. If you have a hearty eaters that's going to eat maybe 2 bowls or maybe even 2 big bowls, you're going to probably need to count, depending on the size of the potatoes, you're probably going to need to count anywhere from 3 to 4 potatoes per person. Now, that's if they're, a kind of a medium size. Of course, if they're gigantic, you're not going to need that much. But I try to figure what I'm cooking about, by that ratio is kind of how I go by. Okay, so this is done. I'm not going to turn the burner off, but I'm going to set it off the fire. You can tell that that's got a little bit of brown to it. Now, something else that I thought about doing and I didn't, you could dice up real finely a jalapeno in this. And of course, Mama didn't do that when we were kids, but if you wanted to, you could, which would give it, a little kick. You could add some cayenne to it. I love cayenne, and I have to be careful with it, but I do like it, and I do use it. Again, the seasoning's just going to depend on what you like. And on my cornbread, I'm going to go ahead and move my potatoes over here to this burner and turn this one off. I'll show y'all ooh, that's heavy. I'll show y'all what I use on my cornbread. I used not quite a cup maybe just a little over 3/4 of a cup, and I used the self-rising cornmeal mix. This comes in yellow or white. My preference is yellow. There's a little bit of difference in it. Probably not enough difference in the taste. It's just I like the yellow the best. And you can get this in different brands. You see I keep it in a bag and I keep it in the refrigerator. And if I'm not using it at all, then I'll put it in a Ziploc freezer bag and put it in the freezer. And the same thing with extra flour. You know, things are too expensive to let them set and ruin. And I used about 3/4 a cup of that, and I used about 1.5 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and probably about 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. I know that's self-rising, but I do put a little bit of baking powder in it, just a pinch of salt, 1 egg, and probably maybe 1/2 to 3/4 a cup of milk. And something else I did that was a little different with this that I don't normally do is I melted about 1 teaspoon of butter and poured that in with the batter. And I started on 425 cooking. You want to have your skillet really hot, and you can put, butter's going to burn easier than oil or bacon grease would. And I use bacon grease, and I keep my bacon grease in the refrigerator, and I just keep it in a little bowl. And, you know, after I cook bacon, I'll put it in here and cover it back up and put it in the refrigerator. Now, my grandmothers and mama, they used to keep the bacon grease setting out on their stove. And it didn't kill any of us, so I know it probably ain't going to kill nobody now. But I do keep mine in the refrigerator. But that's just, you know, that's just a choice. You can do however you want. And I'm gonna let these boil just a little bit. And I'm afraid that's going to run over before I stick a fork and see if they're almost done. The good thing about, the one thing about cooking this, you want to cook them, you don't want to cook them all to pieces because you want texture. The gold potatoes, as a rule, they don't turn to mush like if you use just a regular russet or bacon potato. They will fall apart and it'll just be like little things in your broth, and you don't want that. You want texture to it. Linda Reagan, you asked, do we not cook together anymore? We do cook together, and now that might sound like we don't, because we have not been together a whole lot in the last couple of years. Last year, it was due to, I had 3 major surgeries and several other procedures during the year. And then Mary has health problems. She has kids and grandkids that she is very involved with in her church. And she's a very busy person, and she also has days that she doesn't feel like it. It's 55 miles to our house. And it's not hop on the interstate 55 miles and you can be there in 40 minutes. You go through 3-4 towns, lots of red lights, lots of turns, and it takes 1 hour and 20 minutes to drive to her house or for her to drive to mine on a normal day. That's one way. And so you're basically your whole day, it takes your whole day. And there are days that you don't feel like it. There are days that she has appointments or obligations. There's days that I have appointments. I don't have obligations because I don't have kids and grandkids like she does, that she does for. But I do have appointments and things that I do. And there's days that, that I'm not like Mary. I'm not no spring chicken, and I don't feel like doing something or don't feel like getting out and being active all day. I'm good for about probably at the most 3 or 4 hours, and that's stretching it, really stretching it. You can't see, but I'm holding onto the stove with my hand because of my back. But anyway, a lot of y'all go through things like this too, so I know you know what you're talking about, know what I'm talking about. But it's not that we don't want to cook together, but we just, some days it's just in weeks, it's just not possible. So I smell my cornbread. You can smell it. See, it's already getting the, got a good color on it. I'm going to bump up this temperature on here just to 450 and let it cook for about 5 minutes on 450. And then I'll take it out. I need to get me a plate to put it on. And I love butter with it. As soon as it comes out of the oven, I like a nice piece of cornbread with some butter. I'm going to get a plate to put that on. I'm going to check this and see. Almost done. Now, if you'll see here how these potatoes are. See, they've held their shape. They're not falling apart, but that juice, that's going to make really, really good. And I'm going to taste of that and see if it needs some. Well, I won't add seasoning to it till I add the hamburger, but I am going to taste of that juice just a pinch and see what it comes up with. Hot. Doesn't have enough salt in it. You'll definitely need some more salt, but I'm going to wait till I add my hamburger in it, and then I'll add some more salt if I need it. I'll put these in the freezer for about 20 minutes. Now the ice is already melted out of this one, but I love it. It's like a slush, and it's so cold going down. And it's just, it's so nice to drink when it's hot like it is today. Let's see here. I don't think I'm going to need to pour any or absorb anything. This is all, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Let this finish cooking. So your skillet's just clean. There's no oil or grease or anything in there. I'm going to just kind of stir this together. And just let that just kind of simmer just a little bit and cook. And all that good juice that is so good with that cornbread absorbed in it. It's really, really good. Well, I guess maybe we might have been talking about this on air the other day about something, I think Mary and I were, about eating something that your mama or grandma fixed that you remembered that you just tried your best to replicate it and just cannot seem to get the right flavor to it. This is one thing that tastes like my mama's, and it's just, it's easy on your stomach. It's quick and easy to fix. It doesn't take many ingredients. It's a cheap meal, you know, and it's good leftovers. So if you have some left, you can heat you up a bowl that evening or even the next day. Have y'all ever made anything like this? Okay, let's see. I didn't get that question. When I'm cooking, Alice, I always use one spoon every time I taste. I do not double dip. I don't care if it's just two of us here. I never do that. I always use a different spoon. It's just something that I've always done. Let's see. Yeah, there's so many good cooks on here. Many people that have, you know, that have excellent ways to cook. And, you know, I've never claimed to be anything professional as far as cooking. I don't think I am a good cook. I know I'm a good cook. I don't cook a lot of variety like some people do, but what I do cook, I cook it well. And I'm pretty particular about what goes in it, about cleanup, and not to be, not to be patting myself on the back, but I'm very particular about it. Y'all know I'm a stickler on my oven. I do not like a dirty oven at all. My oven gets dirty. It's got to be cleaned. I don't like cooking in a dirty oven. Okay, I think my cornbread's done, so let me turn this oven off and get this out of here. Now, I like my cornbread crispy. If you don't like yours this dark, well, you sure don't have to get it this dark, but I like it crispy, and that's exactly how I fix it. And so, another thing I always do, because I've done this before myself, when I take a hot skillet out of the oven, now these burners aren't on, and I know that's cloth, and I know you could turn it on accidentally, but I'm the one in the kitchen, and I'm not going to turn it on. I keep a pot holder on that handle, and you know why I do? Because one day I reached over and picked up a skillet that had just come out of the oven, and I burnt my hand bad. So I keep that on there just so me, or if he was to come in here, he knows not to pick it up. I did not put onions in this. You certainly can. You can put onions in it. You can put garlic in it. If that's what you like and your family likes it, it would be delicious. I just don't fix it like that myself. And it's not that I don't like onions. I do. I just don't like onions in this, because that's not how Mama fixed it, and I like to fix it the way Mama fixed it. So I'm going to cut just a little piece of this cornbread and go ahead, and there's my buzzer. And I'm going to get me some butter on it. Oh, that looks so good. Absolutely love, 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 love cornbread right out of the oven. I love these little things, these little spreaders. I have 3 of them. I don't want to put that one in the butter because it's got cornbread on it, but I use these things all the time for toast and for different things. And just a tiny bit more. And that's going to be so good. Sometimes, I know a lot of y'all do too, sometimes I'll eat cornbread with, put it in milk. Some people use buttermilk. I'm not a buttermilk fan to eat or drink. Love to cook with it. But a lot of people do, especially people like our parents, that generation, they loved buttermilk and would drink it all the time. But I like regular sweet milk if I'm going to eat it with cornbread or something. Oh, it's so good. Okay, let me check my stuff over here. And I'm going to get a bowl and a plate. And I'm going to taste of it. Walk in front of the camera, that's not nice. I love to see that melted butter on that cornbread. It's so good. All right, now let me check this and see how this tastes. You can see that that's it's gotten richer since I added that meat to it. And again, don't put extra seasoning in it until after you add the meat, especially if you've seasoned your meat, because it's gonna make a difference. Whew, almost dropped it. Well, probably wouldn't need it for most people, But I'm going to put just a little bit more season in it. Just a tiny bit more salt. And a little bit more pepper. And I think we're good to go now. And I'm going to get an old ladle. I've got a nice ladle, but I'm going to get an old one here. And dish me up some of this. And we're going to move over to the counter. And I'm going to taste of it. You can see it doesn't take long at all to fix this. Less than 30 minutes you can, this is done. So let's turn this off. And you want a lot of that good juice if you want to soak your cornbread up in it. I'm not going to put much in the bowl because I can always add more. I'm going to go ahead and take this off the burner because I don't want that to keep cooking. And another spoon. And I didn't eat breakfast, so this is going to taste good. Really good. I always like to put a little bit of cornbread in it. And I save that end piece to eat on the side. Because it's real crispy. Now this is hot. I'm going to have to blow it. I almost dropped my spoon over there a while ago. My hand was shaking. I thought I was going to drop it. Let's see how it tastes. Thank you, Lord. Hot. I can give me a napkin. The hamburger is really good. It's got just the right amount of seasoning in it. And it's perfect with the cornbread. Now, if you don't like cornbread, I know cornbread is something that they don't fix all over the world. They have different kinds of bread. You could eat this with crackers, or you don't even have to have any bread. The potatoes are starch, so you certainly don't have to have bread. I love bread. Don't eat near as much as I used to, but I do love it, and especially hot cornbread in something like this. It's absolutely delicious. So I used about 2.5 to 3 pounds of gold potatoes, peeled them, washed them, and cubed them in little bite-sized pieces. And then I put salt and pepper in my water, just plain water, and about a teaspoon of bacon grease. And I cooked the potatoes until they were almost done. While the potatoes were cooking, I sauteed and cooked about a little over 1/2 pound of good hamburger. Now, if you buy it in the log and you don't have the 96.4 or 93.7 or 90.10 or whatever, and you buy the chuck, which really has a lot of flavor to it, you're going to have a little bit of fat left in your skillet. So you want to take a paper towel and absorb that, because you don't want to add that to your potatoes because it'll make it too greasy. And saute that with salt and pepper. If you want to add onions or garlic or any other seasonings, you can. Get that done and then set that aside. And right before the potatoes are done, add that into your potatoes and just let it cook, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 minutes, depending on how long your potatoes need to cook. And then take it off the burner, and because you don't want to keep cooking it, because it's gonna break down eventually. This is delicious leftover. If you want to fix your little small pan of cornbread and you don't use them, you know, have like the little Jiffy or whatever a lot of people use. If you keep cornmeal mix, I would say 3/4 of a cup this is for a 6-inch skillet, about a tablespoon and a half of all-purpose flour, about a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a little dash of salt, 1 egg, half to 3/4 cup of milk, and I used about a teaspoon of melted butter in it. And you want to generously oil or grease an iron skillet. You want to make sure your skillet is either piping hot, like smoking, or either completely cold. If it's in between, your cornbread will stick. So always remember, either get it as smoking hot or either just don't heat it at all. Pour your batter in there, and I cooked it about 22 minutes on 425, and then I bumped the oven temperature up to 450 and cooked it about another 5 minutes. If your family doesn't like it this crispy, just cook it less time, and don't cook it that last 5 minutes at 450, because that makes it a little bit more crispier. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and if Mary is able, she may cook tomorrow. I'm not real sure. I think she is, but that's going to be depending on her schedule and how she feels. So we're going to do as much as we can. And thank y'all again so much for watching us and for commenting and liking each video. Remember, that's very important. And also the pictures that we post. If you can like those or comment on those, we would certainly appreciate it. Stay cool. And if you're in the part of the world where it's very hot right now, and make sure you stay hydrated. That's very important. And we'll see y'all soon. God bless. Always be kind. Remember, it costs nothing to be kind. And always count your blessings. See y'all later. Bye-bye.